ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Sex and Suicide Podcast. We are here on Mental Health and Motivational Monday with a good friend of mine from way back, Mr. Gilles Bernard. And Gilles, do you want to say hello to the people?
Hello, everybody.
Perfect. Gilles, I'm really excited to have Gilles here because I just learned out right now that he's been, taking it easy on the partying as well.
Yep.
So I've been sober now for almost a year and a half, and you've been going for about 7 months or so?
Well, it's been off and on, right? I mean,
sure.
it's always a work in progress, as you say, right? But I mean, I've been definitely laying low, right? Not going out as much, taking care, surrounding myself with different people.
Good for you, man. Good for you. So what brought that on, just out of curiosity?
Well, I mean, eventually, you do realize as you start to get older, one night of going out takes 3 days of recovery. So that's been going on for a while, right?
Yeah.
But I also found that as I would go periods sober, my business was better.
Yeah,
my sessions were better, and I thought I was thinking a lot clearer. Things were just better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I used to always say this back in the day, years and years ago. My clients that I would see on Fridays and Saturdays were getting much better results than the ones that were Monday, Tuesday.
Right? Sure.
Not that it was ever that bad,
right.
But it was time, right? It was time to kind of shape up a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
your business started taking more of a priority. What do you want to tell us about your business?
Well, where to start, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I do first and foremost, I do hypnotherapy, right?
Yep.
So that's where I first got into the hypnosis world.
Mm-hmm.
I train as well, so I teach a course twice a year. I just finished one a few weeks ago.
Right on.
So people who want to learn how to hypnotize
they can become. Is it a certification that they get from that?
It is exactly a certification. So you're certified as a hypnotist,
right,
with the National Guild of Hypnotists, which is one of the biggest organizations for hypnosis in the world.
Right.
And I also do corporate shows and comedy shows, which you were at in one not too long ago.
Yeah, I think that was in the fall, kind of November.
Yeah, I think I did one in September, one in November.
I think I was at the second one.
Yeah, so the November one you were in.
Yeah, absolutely. That was awesome, man.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing another one soon, I think, here. I was just making some arrangements to set up a different venue to go do it at. Awesome.
Oh, you're not doing it at the you're doing it at the Wolf Performance Hall in the Galleria, right?
That's right, yeah. So I did Wolf Hall, which was good, but there's a lot of it's a pretty big venue for starters, and you need to get insurance for all these different things. So I decided to, and plus you got to pay for the venue, right?
Right.
So after doing it a couple of times, I've had a few people approach me who wanted me to bring it to their venue and give it to me free of charge. So,
oh, nice.
So I said, well, I'll think about it, right? Yeah. And I didn't want to overplay it too much. It is London after all. So when you're doing one open to the public, you don't want to do them too often. Mm-hmm. So I gave it a little rest as I was doing private and comedy shows for Christmas parties and private functions. So coming the next couple of months, I think it's ready to do another one open to the public.
Good for you, buddy. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll be at that one.
I bet you will.
Yeah, I will.
I'll get you on stage.
Absolutely. Well, now that I know, it's a little tamer. I don't know what to expect at these hypnosis things. There's hypnotists out there like Tony Lee, for example, who's X-rated, and you do some things that are. You're not X-rated. Like, you do some comedy. No. Yeah, absolutely. And you keep it fairly clean for the most part.
Well, you have to understand that I'm also running a therapeutic aspect
practice,
right? So what I tend to do is, I think you can be funny without being raunchy, right? I'm nothing against those guys. That's their style. That's their thing. But I like to I like to get people on stage to kind of do some demonstrations, right? Mm-hmm, so if you remember, like, I had somebody chew an onion who thought it was an apple.
That was awesome.
Right?
Yeah, that was probably my favorite. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, so you figure, if I can make somebody chew an onion and taste an apple or think it's an apple, well, just think of the possibilities of somebody who has, who's addicted to sugar or can't stop drinking Coca-Cola. Like I remember a client years ago, I had him. He told me he hated V8 and he was addicted to Coca-Cola. So I hypnotized him to believe that
V8 was Coke.
Yeah, so he stopped drinking it because it tasted like V8 to him.
No shit.
Right?
No shit.
So people in the audience can kind of see, yes, something is going on here, but there's also kind of a message there that you can learn how you can implement it in your life. Right? Because anybody can be raunchy on stage, and all power to them.
Sure.
But to at least deliver a message so it makes the hypnotherapy aspect of it seem
more attractive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, this guy has no idea what he's doing. He's got his pants down. There's no way I'm going in the hypnotherapist's office, which I get all the time, right? I really do. I get it all the time, right? So when people come into my office, and I always ask them what they think it is, and once they've told me what it is, I'm like, I can't believe you walked through my doors.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
brave soul, right? Because
kidding.
what they think it is and what it actually is are usually two different things.
Right. So let's talk about the beginning of your interest in hypnotherapy and hypnosis in general, because it's a very unique field to be going into. And you and I have never really discussed how this kind of came to be. I just kind of met you, and at one point, I was your realtor, and we were looking for some locations, and we found some stuff that we thought was good, turned out to be shit.
Yep,
We took a step back. But at that point, that's kind of the first time, besides the DJing, I kind of knew what you were into. So how did you decide to go down that road to hypnosis? It's very unique.
Yeah, well, I first got interested in it in high school. Right?
Okay.
So I remember, most times in high school, I was the guy skipping the assemblies, and I wouldn't be there, and I'd be out with my buddies smoking or doing whatever we do, right?
Right.
Whatever high school kids do.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah.
But we went to this one, and it was a hypnotist that came to our high school. I was probably grade 11. I forget, grade 11 or 12. But anyway, so it was me and a couple of my buddies. We go there, and one of my buddies gets up on stage, right?
Okay.
So he's up on stage. The hypnotist is doing his show, doing his thing, getting everybody to do the little suggestions and stuff, similar to the kind of stuff I was doing, right?
Yep.
And at the end of the show, he asks, anybody here smoke? And so my buddy raises his hand, he smokes.
Yeah.
So the hypnotist snaps him back into trance and says, you will not smoke for 1 week. So at that point, I'm looking at the clock because it's around 3:30.
Yeah.
My school gets out at that time. I think they've changed it now, but
Right.
it was around 3:30. So it was a Friday, 3:30. So we leave, and we're out waiting for our buses. We're all smoking, and my buddy's there. He's not smoking. So
Okay.
I'm thinking, I'm like, cool, right? So I'm
Yeah.
kind of watching him, right? Not really
Right.
saying anything, but I'm watching him. And then, that weekend we were out probably having drinks at some high school party or whatever,
Right.
right? And,
Yeah.
and he's there. He's not smoking.
Was he drinking though?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so he's drinking, he's not smoking, and I don't remember. I didn't really journal it or anything.
Right.
But
Sure.
I was
But
kinda-
you're intrigued though.
yeah,
right?
I'm watching
Because-
him. I'm just
yeah.
kind of silently watching him, and then the next week we're back at school, and the funniest thing is he would come out at break, like he was out there,
Yeah.
but he wasn't smoking.
Right.
So it was weird. Like he had the habit of come out at break outside, but he wasn't smoking. So then the next Friday at 3:30, he comes out and he's like, "Hey, you got to smoke?"
Really?
Yeah.
So he timed it to a week.
Well, yeah. Well, no, he didn't. The suggestion is.
The suggestion was
So
okay.
it's kind of like, you can give. We do this all the time. We give ourselves a suggestion, like, if it's a really important day and you set your alarm for 6 a.m. and you wake up at 5:59.
Yeah.
That's the same thing, right?
Right.
The subconscious knows. So I can give somebody a suggestion. I'll give you. I want you to. I don't know, keep quiet or open your eyes after 630 seconds.
Okay.
And it'll know.
Really?
Yeah, usually within a second.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
fucking phenomenal.
So that's kind of what got me in. I was like, so at that point, I'm thinking like, I got to learn this, right?
Right.
My girlfriend's getting hypnotized. Yeah. My mom's getting hypnotized. Everybody's getting hypnotized.
so at first was it kind of like, hey, like a power thing?
Yeah, well, I
it's
looked
like,
at
I
it.
can have some
well,
power. Or-
exactly. Well, I mean, you're in high school, right?
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
see this
sure.
go down, and you're just like, man, like this is going down. I got to learn this. So,
Right.
so I really got intrigued in it then, but didn't really study it too much.
Right.
Just kind of like, this is cool. I'm interested in it. I don't know. I guess it kind of took the back burner, right?
Right.
So, but it was definitely intrigued my interest.
Right.
So that's kind of where it started there.
No shit.
Yeah. So
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, right? So-
Yeah. So it started that young. It started in high school
Yeah.
for you. And
Yeah,
that's where
yeah.
the interest. That's cool, man.
Yeah, I really got into it then, and then I had read a couple books here and there, not really telling people about it because it wasn't anything that I was too serious about,
Right.
and it was still kind of. I
Right.
mean, hypnosis goes into spurts where it's accepted, and then some people, depending what they've seen, like again, if your only experience is an X-rated show,
Yeah, sometimes
you're going to say, "Get away from me," right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
while as in other people like, "Oh, I know somebody who stopped smoking," their belief on it is a little bit different, right?
Right.
So,
right.
back then, most people, anybody I told, like my mother or something, they were just like, "My God, are you kidding me? Like, what are you
Right.
getting into now?" Right?
Yeah, sure. Because it's not really considered a real career back, like
Right.
to our parents' generation, anyways. They're
No.
like, "What is this gimmicky shit?"
Exactly.
Probably, right?
Well, yeah, they didn't believe in it or didn't
Right.
even know what it was. And,
Right.
And back then, I probably didn't even know what it was.
Sure, yeah.
I just want to learn this to mess with people. So,
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of where it got triggered, and then. As you know, I had the record store, right?
Yep.
I'm a DJ. I had the record
Yep.
store, so I got a
Release records, right?
release. Yep.
So how did you get into that? Let's kind of gear into that a little bit because that kind of took us your priority for a little while, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
so that was I went to high school in Woodstock, so that's kind of where my first experience with the hypnotist was.
Right.
Then I moved to London. Right?
Yeah,
Come to
okay.
Funshaw, right? Come
Yeah.
to Fanshawe, have some fun.
Sure.
And then I got introduced to the party scene
Yeah.
and the techno scene, house scene. So
Right.
of course, I love that. Got
Yeah.
into that, so I started DJing.
Yeah,
Right, as
sure.
you and I have crossed paths many times doing that in the past.
Absolutely.
Right, Coco's and
Yeah.
here in the clubs.
Everywhere, yeah.
Right. So, that kind of took my priority for a while, right? And so as I was DJing, I had an opportunity to take over the record store, which, I was already spending like who knows how much on a record,
Oh,
right?
fuck, man.
Like back then, we were spending
Dance,
what?
did you do dancerecords.com?
No.
Or did you, because you had released, did you get from Release, or where were you getting your records from back then?
I was getting them from Release. I would get them from, what was that other record store in London there? Or, yeah, it was...
Not
it was
Dr.
on
Disc.
Yeah, it was Dr. Disc.
It was
right?
Dr. Disc, yeah.
So, and
they had in the basement.
Yeah, so I
Right.
would go there, and I would get some from Release. Release was open. They had their own guy from Toronto working here,
Yeah.
right? So I was getting it from there, and I go to Play D and order some online.
Yeah.
And back then, like, what we were paying, like, $20 for one song. Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you guys out there buying MP3s, I don't know how good you got.
Yo, no shit, man. That's why everybody can be a DJ now.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Everybody and their grandmother can just go and rip them off and download just like the top 100 off a pirate site, and not even paying for it, right?
Absolutely.
Back then. So I was paying, so I figured, well, if I'm paying $20 a track,
Yeah.
and I just enjoyed it, right?
Yeah.
I decided, why not take over the record store, right? So me and Jay took it over, and that's what we were doing for a while, right?
Really? So you and Jay took it over?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you took it over together.
Yeah. So me
No
and
shit.
Jay kind of partnered up together,
Awesome.
and we were working it together, doing it, running it, and so we did that for a few years. It wasn't really much of a moneymaker, but I mean, it paid the bill, right?
And
Like,
you got your music for free.
exactly,
probably.
right?
Yeah.
So I was getting my music, and it
Yeah.
was, it was really just like you'd show up to work and just party, right? You're just DJing and selling people.
Yeah,
right?
that's a pretty cool.
So
yeah.
it wasn't bad for being young at that age to
Right.
do that, right? So
I wish that still existed.
yeah,
man.
right.
Yeah.
Well, vinyl's making a comeback. It
Yeah.
definitely is, but I
we
just
should
don't.
reopen Release.
I don't think it's going to come back enough to make money, right?
No.
So,
Yeah.
So anyway, so I did that for a while until the MP3 boom came in, right? And it was
Yeah.
to a point where, I shut down. I said enough was enough. We shut down, and I think a year later, Release Records Toronto's supplier went down. Like they
Really?
stopped. So everyone had no choice but to kind of go with that. So
Yeah.
it was a smart move. It would just been another year of kind of getting worse and worse. So.
Yeah. That was the Beatport trend.
Right,
Yeah, when
exactly.
Beatport
Right.
started
Beatport
picking
started
up
coming
track.
out. Well, it wasn't even quite, because when I got closed it, I was going on Beatport, but I still wasn't finding too much good music,
Right,
right? So it
right.
was still like there was a stale moment where there's like
like, yeah,
nothing,
there's
right?
not-
Gray
yeah,
area where there
yeah.
was no more vinyl, but the MP3, not everybody was releasing an MP3, so it was kind of like, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
You eventually had to crash and go, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
So
that was a tough time. I didn't want to, man.
No, I know.
I love the feel of vinyl.
For sure, for
Switching
sure.
to the CDJ was a hard move. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, I fought it for a while, but
Yeah.
there's to the point where it's either you do it or
Yeah.
you're done.
And,
So,
and the fucking lugging around the Tech 1200s everywhere you go.
well, that I don't miss.
Yeah, exactly.
That
I
I
don't
don't
miss that
miss.
either.
That I don't miss. Actually,
and the
we-
crates, they had wheels and everything. They were
Yeah,
kind of like
yeah,
luggage,
yeah.
but they're still getting
Well,
them in
still,
and
like we had a vinyl night not too long ago at Rum Runners there,
Oh, I wish I had been
and
there.
I pulled up when I had my big bag. I'm like, Rum Runners, those stairs, right?
Yeah.
It's like probably about 30 stairs or so.
Yeah.
By the time I got upstairs, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even want to fucking play right now. I don't miss this at all. I'm just carrying my fucking my two USBs, right?
Yeah.
So
Man.
I was pretty tired.
Dude, I can go to my those days, like they were so much fun, but so much I don't remember.
Yeah.
But then the memories that are plastered forever are
Yeah.
the white marks on the vinyl that I
Yeah,
have
yeah.
at my cottage right now. Pull them out, be like, oh, I know what I did on that record.
Right. Yeah, I hear you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So okay, so that was the DJ thing. Obviously, you're still kind of doing it, and you're well known in the city and,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Toronto even. So
Yep.
that's fucking awesome in itself. You stuck with it. I kind of fell off the rails, but in terms of getting back on track with the hypnosis, how did you start juggling the two of those? Because one is getting up, fairly early in the morning to basically treat your clients.
Yep.
And then on the weekends, as we discussed, at that point, we were kind of weekend warriors.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So how did you juggle that?
Well, so once I closed the record store, I started working for a call center, right? I was a bilingual sales rep, right? First language French. So
Right.
it was really good. I enjoyed it for a few months. And then after a while, I was like, because I was so used to working for myself with